Today we are going to look at the artist Jen Aranyi. She is not only an artist but an illustrator and graphic designer. She is the illustrator and graphic designer by day and an artist on the evenings and weekends when she makes her small, beautiful, colorful, and detailed images. She begins by drawing lightly with pencil and then adds in marker and beautiful, bright watercolors. Her artworks are mainly the surroundings of Maryland, which oftentimes are mountain landscapes. Today we will be doing something similar to the works you see here. So we are going to start our mountain landscape today and do this in a very similar style to the artist that we just looked at here. So I have this handout up on the front table for you that kind of walks you through step by step on how we are going to do this. But I'm first going to start with my horizon line near the bottom of the circle, and it's going to just go across the page. Okay, this is going to be where the sky and the land meet. I am also going to add some kind of broken zigzag lines within my foreground here and my middle ground and background, and that's just going to add a little bit of texture in my landscape. Next, I am going to add my mountain ridge behind my horizon line. So I'm going to kind of add a zigzag line in here. So that is my mountain range there. Next, I will go ahead and I will add my shadow line, and this needs to be on the left-hand side of all of your mountains, only on the left side. And it is going to be kind of like a zigzag that comes out from the top and then it goes back in on each of those mountain ranges. Okay, now that I have those, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my shading and shadows by using a diagonal line. And I don't want to shade this, and I just want to use a line, as this is going to add some nice texture to my artwork. Okay, now that I have my shadows filled in, I am going to look at my foreground, middle ground, and background here. And I'm going to be adding some trees. So as I do this, I want to think about the size of my trees. As I get closer to my foreground, my trees should be larger. And as I get farther away, closer to that horizon line, my trees are going to be smaller. I'm going to start by just adding the lines that will determine the height of my trees. So again, kind of medium size in that middle ground, nice and big in my foreground, and pretty small in my background. From there, I am going to add my branches, and you will see that on the handout here, I kind of have some examples as to how you might do that, so you can kind of look at those and add your lines of your trees in. Okay, so I have my drawing with my Sharpie all done here, except for I did forget to add in my texture on my mountain range. You can see that it's pretty flat right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add kind of some broken lines here, and that's just gonna add some texture and show maybe some rocks in my mountain range here. After I have that done, I'm going to focus on my sky. Now to start with, I'm going to just take my brush with just some water in it, and I'm going to run that right along the top of that mountain range. And this is going to kind of act like a fence for when I am doing my sky. Now that I have that in, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my sky in, and today you are going to choose to do either a warm color family or a cool color family in your sky. So I'm going to do a warm color family, and I am going to kind of add some diagonal lines in my sky, and notice that these diagonal lines are going opposite the diagonal lines that I have in my shadows of my mountains, and that's just going to add some variety to my artwork. And I'm going to switch, and now I'm not going to paint my next color on top, but I'm going to paint it right next to, and you can see there that when those colors touch, they kind of bleed together, and that's what we're looking for. It's just a nice bleed into one another. And then to make a color lighter, you are always going to add more water. And to make it darker in color with watercolor, you are going to use less water. So keep that in mind. It's always good to have some lights and darks within your color for some added variety in your artwork. And if you notice you have some areas that are not getting some nice color bleed, you can just go in with a wet paintbrush and kind of blend those together, and that'll kind of create that bleed. And now I feel like I am really light over here, so again, I'm going to go back in and add some more color so I get that variety in my lights and my darks. So you can do this with your warm colors or your cool colors, but you are going to pick one color family to stay with as you do your sky. We'll put this on the drying rack, and then next class when you come back, we'll go ahead and cut this out and mount it on some coordinating construction paper.